The Monster and Princess Diaries, Episode 1, The Great Escape. High above the kingdom's training grounds, hidden behind the thick bushes, a peculiar figure watched intently. The monster had been studying the scene for weeks now. Every Wednesday, without fail, the young princess would practice her racquetball, completely absorbed in her game. Today was the day he would strike. Retreating silently to a nearby cave, the monster approached his waiting dragon. With practiced stealth, they took to the skies, and in one swift movement, swooped down to snatch the unsuspecting princess.
Let me go!
The princess shouted in vain. As they soared away, the kingdom grew smaller behind them until it disappeared completely. They were welcomed by a curtain of writhing snakes that concealed the monster's castle. The kingdom erupted in chaos. The king, though heartbroken, maintained a curious calm. She knows what to do, he told himself, remembering a night 3 years ago. Princess! Princess! The king roused his 3-year-old daughter from her nightmare. Was it monsters? Tears streamed down her face as she struggled to nod. Do you remember learning how to make those monsters go away? She nodded once more, but it didn't work this time. She shook her head, starting to cry again. Taking her into his lap, he held her close as she buried herself in his embrace. Let's think about this from the monster's perspective. Everyone fears them and teaches others to fear them as well. What do you think this does to the monsters? The princess looked up, curious despite her tears. Since everyone wants them to go away, monsters rarely have any friends. He smiled warmly at his daughter. When you see him in your dreams again, why don't you become his friend? The princess awoke in a cold cell, the memory of that conversation fresh in her mind. She realized she hadn't a single monster nightmare since that night. Before she could ponder this further, the monster appeared, launching into an obviously rehearsed speech about ransom demands, complete with what was meant to be an evil laugh, until he started coughing.
You really need to get a life.
The princess interrupted, unfazed.
Do you have any friends? And what's up with all these snakes?
Silence!
The monster roared, though his voice wavered slightly.
What are you going to do with the ransom anyway?
I'll figure it out once I get it. No more questions.
He turned to leave.
Hey, I'm sorry.
The princess called after him.
I didn't mean to get you upset.
The monster whirled around, gripping the cell bars.
You are in no position to be sorry.
I guess you're right.
She replied softly. After a moment, she smiled.
Hey, I don't mean to sound all princessy or anything, but this is the first time I've met a monster, a real one. If you don't mind, can I be your friend?
Like you said,
The monster growled.
I don't have any friends.
And he stormed off. The princess sighed, reaching into her secret pocket for some magic dust.
Okay, just enough for 2 spells. This better work.
She cast the invisible spell, hoping that it wouldn't wear off before the monster returned. When the monster came back with food, he panicked at finding an empty cell. In his frantic search, he failed to notice the slight tug at his belt as the invisible princess stole his keys. The moment he moved away from the door, she made her escape.
Elevation spell!
He heard the princess's voice right behind him, the invisible spell fading as she floated away. The monster, desperate, loaded Sunny the exploding bee into his mini cannon. The paralysis-inducing bee zoomed toward the princess as she looked back just in time. Instinctively, she grabbed her racket and swung back with perfect form, sending Sunny straight back at the monster's forehead. The paralysis gas exploded, leaving the monster frozen as Sunny plopped down beside him, giggling.
Sunny, you're absolutely useless.
The kingdom celebrated their princess's return with great jubilation. From afar, she exchanged a secret thumbs up with her father, who wore a knowing smile. That night, unable to sleep, the princess's thoughts returned to the monster's lonely eyes.
Maybe he could use a friend. Well, we'll wait to find out.
She packed a small bag for tomorrow's journey back to the monster's castle. The elevation spell wouldn't work uphill, so it would be a challenging climb,
At least the view will be nice along the way.
she thought, drifting off to sleep with a big smile on her face.